I feel like I have tried to start, I do my own video diaries and stuff, and I've tried about a million times to film something that I would want to share with like other people. Um, I tried vlogging. I don't think I really want people or anyone to like take view or account of my life in that way. I think it also has been making me think that like when I do certain fun stuff that I need to be like filming or like focusing on doing something that's worth a vlog or something, and I just don't really want to do that. Like I just don't really have a desire to live in that way. I just got out of the group therapy that I do on Mondays. Today's a Monday. And it's online, but it's the framing of it is like, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to even say that. Like, it's no one's business but mine. But I am trying to learn like a balance of like what's my business and then what I feel like talking about out loud. It's such a weird thing to want to be seen and want to be heard. It feels like really lame to admit that you want to be heard. But I do. And I think that there's certain things I want for myself, but there's certain things I want to be heard on. So hopefully this gets posted somewhere. I don't know. I recently deleted an Instagram app, and I deleted a Twitter app a long time ago. And I still get on Twitter on mobile, and I still like have a Tumblr and stuff, but it's just like I think there's a want for me to be seen and not consumed and observed. I think there's a difference between being seen and observed, and I think that all these other platforms allow like this observation level, kind of like watching from other people. Like even if I'm not necessarily close with you, you have a desire to observe me and watch me. I don't know about all that. So, yeah, I just think there's a difference. I think being seen requires like an equal kind of participation. Being observed requires like this watching from afar. And it's like if you don't really want to talk to me in real life, then what are you on my social media for? You know? Because I want to talk to people in real life, but then when I try to make it happen, it's kind of like not. It's kind of not what they want out of that either. So I'm like, you only want to interact with me online? That's lame. That's boo, loser. Like, loser. I don't really want to interact with someone like that. So, I don't know. I'm trying to find a good balance of this kind of stuff. Because I think I really like the internet and I like being online. And quite frankly, I like looking at myself in photo booth. But there's not like a suitable outlet for me to do any of these things. So I'm trying to do this almost like I'm trying everything out. I got out of the group therapy, and today what we talked about was desire. And we were asked like to define what we think desire is. And I defined it as a deep want for something that makes me want to act on an urge or a call to action. And admittedly, I think I view desire as like this like dirty word. It could be a lot of things. It's like I think I view my desires and my wants as separate. Desires are more in line with wishes and like carnal, hedonistic needs. But my wants feel more like achievable and attainable. And I'm just really thinking about what that even means to like want or desire something. I think that it feels weird, I like identify as non-binary. So I know what I'm perceived as. I know I'm perceived as a black woman, which is fine. Can't do anything about that. I know what I'm seen as in my inner circle. I don't know. But I think that there is this like having to pick and choose where my desires come from, both like where they originate from in my body, but where they originate from identity-wise. I think that I don't know. I think I see my desires, regardless of where they come from, as like a part of a larger project of vanity. And I think that vanity, being vain, is, it's not inherently good. I think you're taught, especially if you're growing up religious in some sort, you're taught that being vain is not a good thing. I think even as someone who identifies with a lot of like leftist politics in a general broad scale, it's not seen as a good thing because you want a greater good and you want to share something communally and have a deep sense of community that comes naturally to you or that you are learning to engage with. But I think being vain is important. I think being vain is a necessity. You are the center of your world just by nature. It feels so weird to acknowledge that you have a consciousness and to acknowledge that looking through your own eyes is all you know. You don't know what it looks like through anyone else's eyes. I think that's really scary, honestly. To look through even this video and see myself talking and to be like, no one else knows what this feels like. And to know that I'll never have another face or body or mind is weird and scary. I think I believe in reincarnation to an extent, but it's like you're not conscious of these things. It's like I subconsciously am carrying those things with me, but I'm not. The only conscious thing about this experience is the present, or whatever. I have a weird ear infection. I've had like recurrent ear infections. It's making me feel a little bit vertigo-ish. So if my breathing and my talking feels belabored, it's because of that. But there are a few questions that came up, like, does desire motivate you? Does it give you energy? What do you like? Do you include or rely on other people for your desires? I think also, do your desires affirm your being? I have a lot of shame around desire. I think I don't feel like I think to me my desires feel not allowed. They feel foolish, they feel naive, they feel like like when you are in kindergarten and they ask you what you want to be when you grow up. And I remember I always wrote ballerina. I always wanted to be a ballerina. And I feel like it's like that. Like that was a wish or a desire. I don't feel like when someone else desires me, it feels more like a duty to fulfill. It feels like other people are allowed to want that of me, but I'm not permitted to want that of other people. And it makes me feel like the desire is coming from me. I'm reading this book called Funeral Diva. It's a memoir and poetry book by Pamela Sneed. And it's about like her experiences as a poet, but growing up becoming an adult and living as an adult through the AIDS crisis. And she describes herself as a funeral diva because she was often asked to eulogize her friends and community members through poetry and whatnot. But also lesbians during this time were a big like backbone as caretakers during this time, so I think that's also attributed to it. And in it, she describes her struggles with drugs as like, she describes going to get the drugs and like there's these two separate beings. Like one wants it and goes to get it, and the other is like existing, but like again, this want and this desire and this carnal need for drugs. It's so weird that I like read that today as I had this session today that happened to talk about this, but that desire can be described between two selves, that like, you know, your desire doesn't belong to you. It's part of you, but it's a separate being that you can disassociate from, that you don't necessarily have to relate to or take claim to or take responsibility of. That like the half of me that has desires is not necessarily me. That the real me would never act that way, would never want these things, would never desire these things, right? Like, that this other half of me, that, like, my ego, at least, it feels like, yes, that, like, this part of me that wants a desire is infiltrated by the ego or something. That, like, it is so self-centered and focused and so narcissistic and so careless and reckless that I'm not taking claim of that. That I can recognize there is a separate me that has this like feeling and want. But that the natural, I guess, neutral, if that even exists, that's also something we talked about in this group, is like neutrality of the self doesn't exist. You react to everything. So there's really no neutral reaction to anything. But that, like, this, like, it's weird that that's even egotistical in itself, that we view, like, a self that's, like, completely naturalized and normal and comes across every day, but then the things that act out of character are not. Almost like a splitting off of the ego, like the bad parts of it or something. And I think that's how I'm starting to view my desire, is that, like, not starting to, I think I grew up thinking that my desire derived from a self that, like, I can't take claim of, that I can get rid of, that, like, I can disassociate from, that doesn't necessarily have to do anything with me, doesn't reflect on me, that I can banish, that I can pray away, that I can talk away, that I can talk through in therapy, that I can, admonish, is that the right word? And, it's just not true. I think we were also talking about desire, like, you know, what the hell even is it? Like I said, I described it as this urge. Someone else described it as this longing. We also talked about, like, desire being of many things. Desire doesn't have to just be sexual. It can be, like, a desire for other things in life. And I'm having a hard time associating these quote-unquote bad things or egotistical things with good things. How could I possibly have a desire for joy? I can want joy, but how can I have a desire for it? Can I have a desire to be content? I think desire, to me, indicates this deepness, this deep need. I think I'm associating it with a want. I think my desires are more aligned with my needs. When I desire chocolate, I need chocolate. Like, it's a need, it's not a want. I need it, or else I'm not satisfied. I think desires speak to my, like, needs to be satisfied. And in that way, again, it feels so sinful, like I'm being gluttonous. And what are the sins again? Is this gonna stop recording if I don't think so. What are the 7 sins? I always forget. Dispositions towards sin and separation from God. See, like a separation, like if God's my ego, if God is part of me, the big sins and my desires are a separation from that. Pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, sloth, all of those things are desires to me. Gluttony, which is usually understood including drunkenness. But then I didn't know there were heavenly virtues. Okay, what are they? Humility, charity, chastity, gratitude, temperance, patience, and diligence. They feel like a direct opposition. Like, one, it feels like both of them just require a sense of work. That, like, the first, I have to constantly fight against myself, and I guess, like, the devil within me to, reject. And I have to accept these virtues. Or do they naturally occur within me? I wonder what Christianity has to say about that. Like, do they all naturally occur within us, but it's up to us to reject and accept the good and the bad, and be able to discern between the two. I just don't think that's I don't think that's natural. It's hard for me to feel like like it feels again like this separation of the two selves. I just don't necessarily like agree with. I'm trying to think of myself as a whole person, and then you have all of these things in religion and other people telling you certain things that you're not a whole person, that like individual things make up like different parts of you. And that's why I really don't like fuck with being observed, because you're seeing one part of me, it's not even the whole. What else did we talk about? Yes, there's a risk factor to having desire and being desired. Do you think that like when you have desires you have to pursue them? Do they affirm who you are? I do often feel like when I have a desire I have to pursue it. I think, I'm an earth sign, so I feel like when I have goals, it doesn't even feel like a question of whether it like will come true. It feels a question of when. And I can feel like super behind, or like super not in the right timeline. I'm so getting scared. This always happens. Like I just get really scared. Super like not in the right timeline of when things are going to happen. But I think that I'm feeling like desires feel less like that. They feel like I need to pursue them, but it's up to me to have the discernment to not do it. And if I don't do it, then I'm a better person, is what it feels like. And I just don't want to feel that way. I'm having a hard time too, like, this is the first year I'm recognizing I have a body. Whoa. The things that, trauma does to you. But I feel like it's true. Like, this is the first year I'm recognizing I have free will in the body. And I am recognizing, like, the pain I hold in my body. Meaning, like, physical pain. Or, we talk a lot about, like, our bodies as a source of information. I don't even know if I can trust my body, which makes me feel like I can't trust my desires. If I can't trust my body and my mind to tell me when something's wrong, how in the world can I trust, my deep, darkest desires to tell me what I truly want and need? Which is why it's hard to accept desires as needs to me. I'm trying to move forward in life with, like, indulging in a lot of different things. I think I grew up on Tumblr, and, like, a lot of it was about, like, you have to romanticize your life, you have to romanticize certain things. And I think that's really true. And like focusing on aesthetics. What does your life look like to other people? What kind of symbols does your life give off for other people to relate to, or understand, or categorize, or aspire to? All of these things feel so material and like worldly. And I'm trying to connect myself, my spiritual self, and my worldly self. I think my worldly self is just my body. My spiritual self is my mind. And I think that, like, again, it's a separation of two things. It is like, and it feels especially weird as a black person, as a black lesbian, as like, you think about double consciousness, like W.E.B. Du Bois said, and like, I wonder if I can pull up like a good definition. of double consciousness. And it's the struggle of African Americans to face it's a struggle African Americans face to remain true to black culture while at the same time conforming to the dominant white society. And I feel like my desires and my wants and my needs and my goals feel in opposition and feel in competition with what white society wants from me. It feels similar to this battle of like my body versus my mind rather than joining the two. It feels similar to battling my wants versus my needs. And I just don't know how to reconcile the two. I hope I learn to. I think it'll come with age. I just passed my mid-20s. I'm just learning what free will is and learning to acknowledge my body as like an existing thing. I feel like I have been truly skating through life hoping to get to like this imaginary better place. Especially as a teenager, it's like, can't wait till I get out of here. To where, girl? Like, to where? Can't wait till I get out of here. I don't even know where I was going. I was going anywhere to get out of here. And now that I'm there from the here, I don't know what to do. I'm feeling like I'm in this immense period of restlessness. I'm wanting to feel really calm and peaceful to know that I'm away from the quote unquote here that I was so afraid of and so ready to get away from. That now that I'm there, I'm like fighting demons. I don't know. I just don't know.